Ianapolis from Australia here, aka Ianapolis, your acrylic guru. Now today I want to paint something monotone, black and white, sort of like a foggy, misty sky with a tree, maybe over some foggy water, something to that aspect, okay? But that's what I want to do today on my canvas board. And the canvas board size is right there for everybody to see. And the colours that I'm going to use, they're just sort of going up your screen right now. There they go up there like that. Not many colours, alright? And we're probably going to use some medium retarder. And, you know, I feel this can be fun doing something like this. It's not that hard, and it's the end result when it's stuck on the wall. It just looks like it's ready to pop and say, hey, look at me, I'm a nice piece of art. And anybody can pull this off, I reckon, all right? Now, first things first, we'll get the white paint to prime this dry, raw canvas board. And we're going to mix it with some medium clear retarder and probably a squirty bottle with some basic water in it, just so we can get that first layer of white on there, real wet, and other colours can move and blend and bleed into each other, because that's what you want for some sort of painting like this. You just want everything to bleed in and blend and look ever so arty, alright? Okay, I'm grabbing my white flowing paint, flowable paint. I'll get a dollop of that onto my palette there, enough I think to prime up. And I'm going to get some clear medium retarder next to that, alright? There's my retarder there that I'm using. This allows your acrylic paints to stay wet longer. Now back onto my canvas. I've got my squirty bottle with water, okay? I've wet that, but not enough for it to drip down and run. You don't want it too wet, just enough to be damp. Grab yourself a putter on a brush. I might use this one. It's just a 2-inch brush. Now I'm going to pick up my white paint and get it onto my brush and mixing it into the retarder there. Just so as you've got bombs and loads of paint onto that brush with retarder, the clear medium. And then we'll take that back up to the canvas. And we'll just big crisscrosses. This is only a small canvas, so I can get it on there pretty quick for this video and get it all on there. Now this paint is flowable and softer than the normal tube stuff I use, and it's allowing it to get in all those potholes of the canvas board. Right, it's just all in there. Look at it. That's wet. Look at that. It's wet. That's what you want. Wet paint. Your brush has got it on there, and it's going to stay wet for a while because we've got the board dampened and the retarder inside there, okay? And we'll just brush it out like that. Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, my next step I'm going to do, I've got some grey toned paint already mixed up in a tube, or you can make up your own greys. They're not that hard, black and white. Alright, so come down to the palette here. Now we'll get some of this and some retarder in there. People ask, how much retarder do you use? I just, see what I squirted in there? I just use whatever. Now I'm going to get that putter on a brush again that I had. I've washed it. Now come up to the canvas here. Okay, and sort of like you're doing a sky or whatever, I don't know. We don't want this too dark, so I'm gonna... that'll do. Put that down like a gentleman. Grab something to blend it with. I'm using my ever so favourite blending brush. It's a 2-inch blending brush from the home hardware store, just your basic hardware store where you buy paint brushes to paint the walls of your house or whatever. Now I'm going to blend this, okay? So I want to leave some white tones in there as well and some greys on. I want it all sort of light and dark, light and dark. So if you were to turn this on its side, everything's up and down, all right? So I'm just blending this. I won't worry about the bottom because I might have some sort of, because it's misty, like I said, wipe that on a paper towel as well. I might have some water there, so we'll deliberately brush stroke that horizontally, so as our painting will have a beautiful horizontal refreshment. Okay, so we're blending this just so we've got some beautiful tones of the grey fading into the white. And as you can see, what that retarder has done for me, it's allowed this acrylic, which is normally a chalky, dry paint, it can be at times for people, it's allowed it to be wet and blend. So about there, let's grab that other brush that I had and go across here. Get some water strokes in there. Get it going horizontal. Probably, I don't know, not halfway up, a bit under halfway I want to go. That'll do, something like that. Black and whites are quite nice and artistic looking, you know. They don't always have to be colour, because a lot of beginners, I've done the same thing. If you're not too good at learning what colours go with what, they can look sort of too colourful and not quite what you're looking for, but people will say, yeah, that looks good. Anyway, there's our water. You can see what I've done. I've marbled that, not marbled it, but blended it. I've got lighter and darker tones of greys there, and I've got our water there, okay? But now I want some darker tones over here, all right? Now down here I've got my grey, so we'll get a bit of carbon black, not too much, and we'll start mixing a grey. See how dark that is? You don't want too much black, okay? Now we're going to mix that till it's the temperament I want, which that looks good to me. Let's darken it up just that little bit. I'm just using a flat knife. You can use a brush, a toothbrush, anything to mix your paint up on the canvas. Now I'm just going to put a couple of splashes of retarder back in that, because I still want this to blend what's on the board up there, alright? Now I'm grabbing my brush that I'm applying the paint to the canvas with, and I kind of want something like this here. I'm dabbing it on. I will get a bit in the water there as well. I want something sort of, let's make it easy for people, and probably something out here. Alright, now I want to blend that. I've cleaned my blending brush. I want to blend this a bit, have that bit of darker showing at the bottom of the sky out there somewhere. Get the water back there, and then blend this into that white so it's disappearing into that white. Alright, as you blend, those that might have trouble, be sure to keep drying your brush or wiping it on a paper towel or a cloth or something, okay? Now I want this to participate out there into nothing, because it's all going to give it some sort of aspect. Now this is water, don't forget, so we're just pulling that down like so. Okay, wipe the brush and lightly pull it across. Okay, now I want some more dark out there, but I'm adding a little bit more black. You can't see what I'm doing here, but I've just added a little bit more black into that, give it a little bit more darkness probably here and there. See, I want some more darkness there like that. Wipe my brush, blend that out. Blend it out, blend it out. And I want some, I might want to put some clouds in here, so let's get something up there where I can drop some clouds in front of. So we'll use this darker grey, and I'm just blending it out, working out what side of the canvas I want it to be on, where I want all my colours to be, here, there, middle, to the edge or whatever. So I'm imagining I'm going to have some clouds here, so I want some sort of darkness behind to make them pop, because this is already light over here. That'll do. Now I've got my fan brush that I like doing my clouds with, and a blending brush. So I want some clouds just over this area here. So I want to get them in. Just trip yourself over with the fan brush like that. See how easy that was? Now we're going to pick up a blending brush, and we want to blend, like I always say, from halfway down into the atmosphere, the sky or whatever. Wipe it. Sometimes the brush itself leaves cloud marks there. You can leave. Don't get in the habit of, you know, you're always fading into nothing. If you've sort of made a good brush stroke, leave it there. It looks great. So we're going like that. So I want to get this done, just so we've got some sort of cloud distinction in the sky. Now see, the tops, to me, they're a bit brush strokey, so I want to kind of tickle them, wipe it, tickle it. Not too much, just be careful. All right, we've done that. Now we'll just give it one more layer. So, and down here. That'll do. I'm happy with that. So we'll twist your brush around, dance it, do all sorts. Okay. You want to leave from light to dark and then start the new cloud light to dark, so you could sort of got that aspect of one sitting in front of the other. And hopefully that'll look like some sort of cloud in the sky, fogging down into nothing, into the water. There we go. Now I've got to put that brush stroke of the water back because I've lost it a bit there, just there, that's it. And I think we might just put something in this corner here. All right, where are we? We'll just get some sort of, not too much, I don't feel I want too much here, just, I'm sort of, yeah, see, I've brought some grey back, which I wanted to do because this is too white there. So pick up some, there we go. And when you blend it, it sort of brings it together, so we'll blend this. I'm barely touching it. You sort of dance on and off until you see that finish you want in your paint. I mean, in real life here, in person, that's very minimal, but it's there. Otherwise, it just looked like that part of the canvas wasn't painted okay. Maybe feel I can darken some of this back up where I've lost it. Just down there. Transfer it into the water. Because it just looked, I don't know, when I had a look at it was alright, but not quite what I wanted. So we'll get this done, do that in the water, and we'll brush stroke that across now. There's our water. I want to get some texture into this water, so I'm picking up some of the grey off the palette there. It's sort of the light and dark bits. There it is on my knife. Okay, I'll just put it on this other easel here. And I want to sort of get some bands like this. Maybe pick up some white as well. Just like this. Grab my other brush and push that through so we got some darker values. See, I want a bit more. There's not quite enough there. I want some maybe here. It's just, there we go, some there here. Now the good thing about this Atelier interactive paint, watch this. See, they're on there, but they're just not dragging. So I'm going to grab my squirty bottle, not too much. And watch this, I'm drying that brush on my paper towel and I'll pull that across again. And it's going to allow me to manipulate those darker areas a bit better, see, which is there what I wanted. Just so I've got some darker values in there. There's me water. Now down here I've got my titanium white. I'm going to pull it out and spread it flat about 1 mil thick onto my palette there, right? Clean the knife. And then I want to put it on its edge and pull it through so I've got a thin ball of paint on there. And we'll just come up here and create these horizon lines very thin. I'm barely touching it there. Nice and thin, Ian. That's it. I'll load that knife up again and get some more, just maybe under. I'm barely. See how thin I want them. We'll put some over these darker areas. It's it's hardly there, but that's what's going to create the, what do you call it? The detail of your painting. It's just enough. If it's really thick, which I've done in the past, and days after when you're looking at your painting, you think, God, that looks horrible. You're your worst critic. But it also can help you being your worst critic. All right, I'm getting carried away. You got to learn to say stop. There we go. That'll do. So now I've got that dark depth that I was looking for there. We've got a bit of a misty, monotone colours. It's so easy. The water, it was so easy. Just practice getting these highlights on there very thin. Bit of darkness and back up in the corner here because we want to put sort of like a tree there now. And if we can, maybe a bit of a foreground. We'll see what happens. You know, when you're doing a painting, it's always good to have yourself some coffee going or some beverage that you're really happy with drinking. I've got my iced coffee. I love iced coffee. Actually, I've got it going on in an Oregon cup someone sent me, which was Angel Jackson. Thank you for that. Oh, love a good drink when you have a nice art piece that you're happy with going on. Now we're going to sort of like, it's going to be a black tree, but let's not just do it black. Let's try and get that black into, say, maybe 2 or 3 shades, so it's got light and dark values and some depth in there, okay? Because this tree, you just want it to be there, it's sinking, it's hanging down, you got some beautiful crystal clear water there, but it's all black and white, and everything's just coming down, and it's just going to make you think that that tree needed to be there. It's not going to be some sort of, I've done some trees in the past and they just look like absolute snot. So it does pay to practice different styles of trees. I'm no expert at trees, unfortunately, so in some of my paintings you might notice there's some okay ones or there's some pretty bad ones. But anyway, I know what I want here. Now I've drawn a rough outline of how I want my tree to be. This is one tone of the grey I want to start with. So I don't want to think, I want to sort of get these branches roughed in with my script liner to a degree of where I want them to be, letting it bend and make its own natural bends. It'll get it in there, and then I can start putting some thickness and whatnot into all these branches, okay? So I'm pretty much, I didn't bother penciling in the actual thickness of the tree. I've just penciled in the line where I want the actual shape to be. So let's see how, because it's going to be about this thick down there and continue up. Make sure your brush and your paint is reasonably wet for this. Get some stuff coming down here. At the moment these look stupid, but I'm just getting them in there. Because we want this to be sort of like a willow tree kind of thing hanging down. Now there we got the basis of my tree, okay. Now I'll start putting the thickness of it, so I'll get the bottom a bit thicker, and we could sort of make bulbs of where old branches fell off it in the aid. It's an old tree. Let's get that paint a bit wet. So if we come up the side here and sort of bulge out there, so it looks like it's had an old branch there years ago, but it's fallen off. I mainly need to do this at the top with this brush. We'll get maybe something out there too. Now what I'll do, I'll grab a bigger brush, just so as it's a bit more quicker and easier. So I want to work out where I can get more sharper edges on my trunk, like that. See, where it goes over those potholes, fill them in, because they could really make your painting look nasty and low quality. Just so long as the edges are sharp. See, the edge of it's going to be quite thick. I want it to sort of, because I think willow trees have a bit of a buckled up old trunk and whatnot. Coming out here. So what I'm going to do all this off camera, because it can be quite tedious and boring. Okay. Alright, I'm just finishing the thickness of the tree. I've added a bit of angled foreground there as well. Now something with this, I can add darker black and we'll start bringing this tree to life. But first I want to use my script liner and bring all the willowy effect coming down now, and then I'll start darkening up the trunk and certain sections. Now I'm using a thinner liner brush. I don't know what number it is because it's got all paint over it and I can't read the number, but it's about that thick. I'm moistening up this paint now so as this script liner can get the paint on there, and then we'll start. This is going to be my tedious bit, but I want these to be really pointy, willowy bits of stuff coming down. And I'm going to try not to, this is probably going to be the hardest bit of this painting, is to get all this really fine and coming down. But see how that one broke up? You want to try and keep them nice and sharp. Twist the brush as you twirl these on. It's just like doing branches on any tree. And this has all got to hang down nice and hairy and thin. So I'll do a few coming up this side. These are coming off that branch and into the water. Look at that. Work out if it's easy coming out and inwards or from the inside and out. See how that's got a big sharp blob there? Not a sharp blob, but a heavy blob. You want that to be really hairy. And let them cross over. But like I said, this is going to be the tedious part of the painting. So let me get a lot more of these in and I'll come back. In doing these, I've done it, and you're probably guilty of doing it as well. Try not to have them all side by side. Get some and come across like I've done over here to sort of break it up so as they're sort of crossing each other as well. Alright, I've pretty much finished with that tone. Now I've mixed up some white into some black again, but it's just a tad darker than that because, like say this side of the tree, I want it to be a bit darker not too much dark. I don't want the whole thing to be a big black foreground at the front, you know. So I'm opting for this colour here. I want to sort of get in here, come across here. I want those lines quite dark there. Alright, then we'll come up the tree and get this tree sort of toned a bit. I'm going to wipe the brush and I want to sort of blend that with the other colour there. Wipe the brush, blend it in, wipe the brush, blend it in. Because now I'm going to use this colour to do more of those weeping willow branches. Alright, let's put some darker ones now, because those grey ones are going to be sunken back, because there's got to be a lot of these there. So we want some light ones in the background. Is my camera picking that up? See, if your paint's not wet enough, they're going to break up. You want them to be sharp. I hope that's picking it up. And if anything, these black ones are going to be over the trunk here. Alright, we're just about getting there. I'm just trying to get the dark. I want a nice amount of dark over here. Now if I find it's going to bleed, I'll stop and get my hairdryer onto this, but you can see what this dark's doing. It's sort of getting certain areas to pop out. Okay, I just want to have a look at that off camera, on the camera lens there, just to see how it looks. And then I'll do some of the willow branches actually over the tree, because you don't want the trunk naked and everything to the side. You want to sort of create backward and forward. And so I'm finding the big thick bits of the trunk here, putting some darker bits on there, and just sort of get some sort of aspect of dimension and perspective here. I'm getting the just pure black now. Let's see if we've got some of this standing out. I don't want that breaking up. I'm not going to have too much of it, just enough to sort of sit things down in front and behind each other. Down there. Get some up the top here. Alright, I think I'm pretty much happy with that. It's visually looking the way I intended it to look. Alright, what do you reckon, Steve? We'll leave it at that, eh? I think that's pretty much what we'll do. And I'll autograph it, but I just wanted to get Steve in there as well, because he's growing up. And say hello to everybody, Steve. Sturdy birdie. Love him. Alright, so we'll get this autographed and we'll put a frame on it, alright? Alright, I'll just sign it in black over here, enough away from where I'm going to have a frame. And I'll get little Steve's paw in there as well, so as I don't forget about him, which is over here. Alright. Okay, we'll put a frame on this. This black and white frame should make it look okay. Yeah, that frame looks quite good on there. It's got the white border edge on it. It suits that monocoloured painting. That's not too shabby, eh? Well, I hope you enjoyed that little easy black and white willow painting exercise, okay? Follow me on Facebook, add me as a friend, and you can ask me more direct questions. Be sure to subscribe to my channel here. And if you like what I do, you tell a friend. But if you do not like what I do, you tell everybody, okay? All the best, goodbye, good luck, and good on ya!